Holler for mature audiences only, so your mom is definitely invited. Sometimes controversial, always engaging. It's the podcast that lets your voice be heard. It's the podcast that shouts you out. It's time to holler. Can you dig it?
I could eat a unicorn one day through a Pop-Tart.
I like
toaster strudels.
You like the jizzy part?
Yeah, I like the way it explodes
You
in
like
my
it?
mouth and to swallow it down. Oh my god.
Your tweets, snaps, Facebook comments, and even phone calls. Holler any way you want.
They used to give kids opiates to keep them quiet.
This is much less offensive than that.
JD, Brian, and Gracie. Holler at your boys. And the girls.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is... I just changed my name to Elon Musk's son's new name. So it's that. Welcome to Holler.
That's my favorite.
It is the podcast that shouts you out on the internet. We're a silly internet podcast. We're having a lot of fun. Still social distancing. Still trying to stay safe out there. Hopefully you guys are doing the same. My name is JD Short, actually, for real. And you can hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. I'm the same word on all of it. It's JD Short, all one word. And to my current left is my buddy Brian. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man?
What is up, internet world? Wherever you're tuning in, we are so happy to have you. I am Brian, the co-host. Welcome to Holler, the podcast that shouts you out. We've got a really exciting show. We promise you that we're going to bring you a West Virginia native that is captive on a cruise ship. You've read about him in the news. We've got him live in the flesh. He's going to be an exciting guest. He was already going to be an exciting guest without being captive on a cruise ship. You see how I'm talking you up, MaShawn? Just like that. That's how I do it.
Oh, no
guys,
pressure.
I want you to reach out to me in Twitter world. That is my favorite social media. You can find me at Holler at Brian. That's just like it sounds. And as always, if you shout me out, I'm going to shout you out on the show. We want you guys to comment live. We're going to play along with you. But right now, I want to introduce MaShawn Morton. This is a Huntington, West Virginia native who is currently on a cruise ship. He is stuck, and we're going to hear all about it shortly. MaShawn, what's up, man?
What's up, Brian? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I am so happy to see your face. This upgraded my night just to see you because it's been a while.
It has, but you know what? Every time I'm home, I run into you. Have you noticed that? It's usually at a bar.
It is usually at a bar. That's correct. And now here we are again. So before we get going anymore, let's introduce our third co-host over here who's about to lose her shit. I don't know if she's crying or laughing. I can't tell. This is Gracie. Gracie, what's up?
Guys, this video may be recorded for training purposes. Hey, what's up? Gracie. Always hit me up on Twitter because that's where I'm most active these days at Holler at Gracie. That's about it. Brian, fuck you for forgetting about me.
I forgot about you.
I know.
Oh, we can say that on here? We can
Oh, yeah,
say
you can curse
say whatever you want.
Say what you want.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah. Just say whatever you feel like you must say. Anyway, again, this is Holler. It's the podcast that shouts you out on the internet. We're hanging out with MaShawn Morton, who, again, is quarantined on a cruise ship. This has been all over the news recently, and we're very lucky to get you on this show, man. And we definitely want to talk about your plight. We, of course, are also going to talk about Elon Musk's son, and as well as our so MaShawn's originally also from Huntington, West Virginia. That's where this podcast is based out of, and we have a really wild governor, and he's been saying a lot of weird stuff recently. A lot of fun things in the news this week. People are going insane. It's crazy. Let's talk all about it on this podcast. Before we do anything, though, we're going to do a toast. So if you have a drink, please raise it up. This is a simple toast. I'm going to try to go really easy on this one. This is more like advice for people. I think that we kind of need it right now. So everybody raise your drink of choice. Don't blame a clown acting like a clown. Just ask yourself why you keep going to the circus. Cheers, y'all.
Amen to that.
Let's start this show.
Today at our news briefing, there was an fucking audio glitch. And it sounded like that I had said a fucking bad word. A word that I would never fucking say, nor have I ever said. No fucking possibility in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Governor Justice, for that update. We really appreciate it.
Our leader.
Yeah.
Our leader.
Everyone just remember to
Wait, can I ask
Fucking
you a question?
follow the guidelines.
Oh.
What were you saying? Sorry.
Good, yes.
Did he really say that that's a word that he's never said before? Did he say that?
Yeah.
He might have fucked that up.
Interesting.
That was a clip of, obviously, it was an edited clip of Governor Jim Justice of West Virginia. He accidentally had a little Freudian slip when he was doing it. Basically, he was trying to say, follow the guidelines, and then he was trying to say, if they can follow the guidelines, but he sounded like he said, fucking follow the guidelines.
Fucking follow the guidelines.
Sounds pretty clear.
It sounds pretty clear. So everybody make
fucking said
sure.
it.
I'm just carry acting to every comment today. So just know that. If you comment, I'm carry acting.
We care about you out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, let me take this opportunity, since I'm on the mic right now, loud and clear, to say we are brought to you by our faithful sponsor, beerchuggin.com. And before you laugh at that, if you're a new listener, this is a website with a cause. Beerchuggin.com. The more merch they sell, the more beers we chug with them live on their Facebook group, COVID-19 Beer Chuggin', the more money that gets donated to a very, very good charity that's local, near and dear to our hearts, West Virginia Mass Army. JD, you want to tell them a little bit more about that?
Yes, they're actually there's been a bunch of new developments that comes with that, and we'll probably have Matt and Nick back on the show sometime in the future to talk about the future of beer chugging. But right now, the way that COVID-19 Beer Chuggin' Facebook group started was all the merch they would sell, they'd give 25% of their charity to the West Virginia Mask Army. Well, recently, the West Virginia Mask Army got a lot of help from the National Guard and doesn't really need the money anymore. They're obviously accepting donations, but they don't really need it. They have help now coming from a different, more substantial place. So right now they're talking about where they're going to put the money in the future, but they're always going to be donating money to local charities to help people out here. So check out beerchuggin.com. It's beerchuggin, no G at the end, .com. Buy some fun merchandise. There is one actually that has Jim Justice on a t-shirt. Looks pretty great. Pretty fucking great.
Pretty great.
But yes, the real deal though is we have special guest MaShawn Morton on the show. Again, MaShawn, you are you're stuck in a room, man. You're stuck in a room more than a lot of people out there. How are you holding up, dude?
I am truly quarantined. I'm okay. Right now, I'm okay. It's been a lot. No lie, it's been a lot. It's been a very long process, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, so I'm okay.
That's good. You work on a cruise line, a major cruise line, and recently, I guess a couple weeks into your trip, when all this started happening, they had to dock and let their like customers disembark, but apparently the crew had to stay on the ship. Can you give us sort of a quick rundown of what exactly happened and basically what led from the outbreak of this COVID-19 situation to now? Can you kind of walk us through what ended up happening there?
For sure. So I joined my ship. My contract started February 29th. Before that, I was in LA for rehearsals for 2 months. And the COVID situation at that time, it wasn't thought to be a big threat. It was over in China, which is on the other side of the world, blah, blah, blah. And so we ended up, going through with our contract. We joined the ship February 29th. We were there for 2 weeks. And then the shit hit the fan, basically, around the world in the course of those 2 weeks. So March 14th, the company was the first company, actually, to say that they were going to suspend operations. And they disembarked all of the guests, all the passengers, and the crew started to sail on the ship, and we anchored in the Bahamas, which sounds very, fabulous.
Sounds wonderful.
It was for a moment. It was for a moment, I won't lie. For a solid week and a half, it was like vacation. And then we went into lockdown. Am I talking too much? Tell me.
No, you're great.
No, I'm captivated by your story. Keep going.
So you went from basically you had to stay on the ship to now you have to stay in your room for, was it 21 to 22 hours a day, something like that?
So basically what happened is once the passengers got off the ship, we were given the option to move into passenger cabins or stay in our crew cabins, which anyone who's ever been on a cruise ship, you probably haven't been crew. So imagine how small your room is and then half the size of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And we share. I have a roommate.
Yeah.
So the option to go to the passenger cabin with the balcony was So we all took advantage of that, and we packed a little duffel bag and moved up to our passenger cabins. Gym was still open, the pool was still open, bars were still open. It was cool. Then about a week after that, the CDC started to crack down, and basically what was said was that any ship that was in American waters had to operate at a level 3 health level. Level 3 means you leave your room only if you're doing an essential duty and for meal times. When you leave your room, you are wearing a mask and you're getting your temperature checked twice a day, which is recorded. We sanitized the rooms. They gave us little bottles of Virox to sanitize and wipe down the rooms. And yeah.
Gosh. And it's been that way. And it's been that way.
That's been my life.
For, at that point, it was a month and a half, a little over a month and a half that you'd had to been doing this.
Well, yeah, we moved into the passenger cabins, I'd say, at the end of March.
End of March. Okay, so you've been there, you've been in the passenger cabin, a little bit more roomier space for a little over a month. That is wild.
Yeah, there's a balcony, which has been very helpful. Good Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually on a different ship right now than the ship that I started on.
Right, because this is sort of a newest development, I guess, right now, is that you are now, they gave you the okay to be able to actually disembark. But even that has, and that's apparently going to start tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, that is going to start tomorrow. We skipped a lot of stuff in between there. But
well, there is so much going on, but I mean, there's so many things too. Like once you do disembark, there are certain ways that you have to travel and certain things you'll have to do in order to, stick with the CDC guidelines and stick with your company and everything. Like for example, you can't rent a car, you can't buy a plane ticket, nothing like that.
No. So basically, it seems like, that the CDC feels that we pose a health risk to the country. There were 2 separate occasions on my last ship where we had docked in Fort Lauderdale, and we were told no Americans can get off the ship. And that's because they feel that cruise ships pose a threat. But yet, they let passengers off the ships.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. I'm so confused by that point. So they can go, but you can't go. You're an American. Can you remind me again where you're currently docked right now?
Right now, I'm at sea.
Okay, but where are you at sea exactly?
We were docked in Great Isaacs Key. It's a bay in the Bahamas. But right now, we're sailing towards Fort Lauderdale.
Gotcha. Nice.
All right.
Yeah. So in the course of the end of March to April 23rd, we docked in Fort Lauderdale twice to restock for supplies, food, etc. And the second time that we were in Fort Lauderdale, the Americans were gathered in a group and basically told by our higher ups, like, now is the time for you to reach out to your congressmen, your senators, your state representatives. Now is the time for you to reach out to the press, because basically we've extended all of our resources and you still are not allowed to get off the ship.
How many
So
Americans
that's
are there?
really, well, on that ship, there were 11 of us total.
Wow. Man,
We're
that
the
just seems
minority.
so easy to just like, come on, there's 11 of us.
Yeah, and then, but here, so once that happened on April 25th, they took Americans from ships in the fleet and Americans from other ships from different companies, and they consolidated us onto one ship. So right now, there's 55 Americans on this ship that I'm on right now.
So,
Gotcha.
so you're it's too dangerous for you to get off the ship and go home and quarantine in your own home, but it's not dangerous enough for them to group you guys together more. Like, you had 11, now you have 55.
Hello?
What is?
And
This is very confusing
and
and
this is when I
seems
started.
seems to
and
be
that's when I
a lot of
started
major
reaching out
oversights.
saying we need help
Yeah. Wow. So this
because of the cross contamination factor. Like, I don't know what other people's ships' health status
Yeah.
was. I knew what my ship was healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we had been in quarantine, self-isolation for 21 days up until that point.
Mhm.
So I knew the situation that I was in there, and then coming here, I didn't know.
yeah, you could have been walking
And then
in.
there was talk about moving us to another ship that had known cases of COVID and people who had died on it. There was talk of them moving us to that ship if America still refused to let us in, because this ship is scheduled to start sailing to Asia and Africa.
Ugh.
So once that started talking, that's when I really was like, started freaking out, because I'm like, you're going to put me on a ship that already had known cases and people die from this thing?
Like
What
endanger
sense is
you
that?
more, right?
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
okay,
right.
it's
let me ask
increasing
you
in
this.
danger.
I know that cruise ships are like crazy about their lockdown, even when it's not a crazy time. They're very meticulous about who they let in and out of the ship. So I'm assuming that during this crazy time, it's just the same or even worse. I mean, here's my real question. This is wild. This is an out and left field question for you. But my question is, let's just say you had an American on there, like yourself, with extreme anxiety, and they're just freaking the hell out, and they're thinking, like, I've got to get off this ship because these people are going to kill me by putting me on another ship. There's just no way for that person to escape or sneak out, right? I mean, you guys are just like literally locked.
I mean, we're there's nothing but water around us. You know, like we're
At
we're
present,
just
yeah.
we're here.
you have to be. You have to be.
So I have a
Yeah.
question from Facebook, MaShawn. LaCandace
Hit
wants
me.
to know, where did the other crew go? Did their countries let them back in?
Good question. Okay, so what the company did was they segregated us by nationalities. So all Europeans went onto one ship, all Americans went on one ship, Asians went on another ship, and South Americans went on a ship, all separate. And 3 or 4 days ago, my cast members from Europe, they were able to get off the ship in Southampton, and they started posting pictures that they are with their families, which makes me really happy. Like, I'm very, very happy for them.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to know that all it took was for them to get to their country, and their country let them in. I'm already at my country. I've been there. I've sailed away from it twice.
Gosh.
Yeah.
MaShawn, I've got a question for you. Who do you think is going to play you on Locked Up Abroad on the Discovery Channel when your episode airs?
That's hilarious. Who's gonna play me? Me.
Yeah, I hope so, man. You
I'm gonna
deserve
play
it.
me.
You got to get some kind of royalties out of this.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh, jeez. I hope that
Do people care about this?
people do.
Like-
People seriously do, man. I
Yeah,
wanna
yeah,
let
man.
you-
When I
wanna
saw it, I
let you
kind of
know
like
that.
mini freaked out because it was you. But even before I knew it was you, I cared anyways. I was just like, what the fuck? This is a fucked up story. And then when I saw your name, I'm like, okay, this is a friend of mine. I'm getting him on here. We're talking about this tonight. Period.
And honestly,
Thank you.
this is great that you're even on this call doing this with us. Is fantastic. Thank you for being on this show, because you're actually like you're in it. You're in the stuff, and you're telling us things that like people should know this stuff. People need to know that between the government or between the CDC or between the company, that like there's a lot. It seems to be a lot of brokenness and like oversights. Things are being messed up here on all this, and it seems like people are forgetting about that.
Yeah, what really like kind of hit me was the fact that people didn't know that this was happening, like that we were out here.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that I know and love, they didn't know that I was still stuck on a ship. And that's because nobody was talking about it. Mm-hmm. I guess people just thought, and then I saw on the news how the guy who was stepping in for the UK Prime Minister made an announcement that all UK crew had returned to the country when I had just left UK crew 2 days before that. And I was like, that's a lie. That didn't happen. I literally just like saw people that I love get on another ship and they're sailing to the country, but they're not in the country.
Gosh.
And then there's people protesting in America. And I'm like, y'all are protesting because people want you to stay at home. I can't even get home. Can we protest about that?
Yeah, exactly. What is the priority here? Jeez, man, we want to be a comedy show here, but this is really more enraging than anything. I'm kind of like,
I'm sorry. I'm trying to. I'm trying to be lighthearted about it.
Well, you are, and you have a great disposition about your situation right now. And again, I do want to say you just got some news that you're going to start the process of finally possibly being able to go home tomorrow. Like they gave you the okay about that, and there's going to be a process. And I'm sure the process is still going to be long and arduous and probably as difficult as this whole process has been for you. It might not get better, but hey, you know what? At least you're kind of used to it, I guess.
Right. No, it's been...
Go ahead, and then I'll
go ahead.
Well, I have a couple more questions for Facebook.
Okay, go.
Okay. Brandy wants to know, how many days have you been on the ship?
I have not set foot on land since February 29th. How many days is that?
That is, let's see, March was 30 days, April...
and you know what's interesting about that date that you decided to start working, if we can back up here, maybe those that are just joining the show, you began working on a cruise ship in February. And I know what people are probably thinking. They're thinking, why would you go work on a cruise ship during this kind of pandemic thing? But if you guys would just turn back the clock in your own brains, you have to admit, we weren't really freaking out in the end of January, beginning of February. We didn't really understand. Now it's a different story. Of course, you would not go join a cruise ship right now, obviously. But
Can I say? Just want to say, I did the math for you,
point, Brian.
That is a great point. I did the math for you, MaShawn. You've been on that ship, and you haven't been on land. You haven't set foot on land, and this is great.
I haven't set foot on land
for 69 days. Nice.
Ooh, my favorite number.
69. The sex number.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the
MaShawn.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to that. MaShawn, at this point in your castaway, 69. I believe Tom Hanks already knocked his tooth out with an ice skate, so you're a little bit behind him.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh my god.
Oh no, you just admitted that.
Next
live
question.
On air.
Next question.
Next question.
Sorry.
Well, you don't need to see it. You're kind of living it in a way, in some form. You're technically you're living the you're living the sequel to this.
LaCandace has another question. She says, will there be a point that you guys think about legal action once you're off the ship? Is there anything you can do legally? But just know we have a Holler at a Lawyer segment, so that can probably be answered.
We'll wait on that one. Yeah, let's move that over to when we actually bring the lawyer.
I'll let him answer that.
Yeah, that's smart.
And one more, I promise. Maybe, unless someone says anything. Brandon wants to know what the food and booze situation is during all this.
Two very important questions.
Yes.
That's a good question.
I'm subscribed again. Let's go.
So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are provided at certain times, split between different departments. So I have 30 minutes to eat breakfast, I have 30 minutes to eat lunch, 30 minutes to eat dinner. It's buffet styled, and depending on who the chef is, it's it's good. I've been comfortable. I have been comfortable. I have. The booze situation, once we went into lockdown, it was 2 drinks a night. You're allowed 2 drinks a night.
Ouch.
To go to the bar,
Oof.
order your drink. If you get a double, that's your 2. If you get a double, I mean, I'm already drunk.
I don't like this.
So if you get 2 drinks a night and you take it to your room. No standing around the bar.
So can you stockpile that maybe for a Good Friday, like all week long, and then just, you got all your drinks?
Literally, what I did was every time, even after dinner, even if I wasn't drinking that night, I would go and order my 2 and pour it in a bottle. I had bought a bottle before it all started, and I would pour it into the bottle. And once the bottle got full, I was like, okay, I'm drinking.
You were like, all right,
That's my
tonight is
favorite
going
answer
down.
of the whole podcast so far.
True, 100% true.
Oh, man, this is so. I think this is ridiculously captivating. Like this, your story is. Are you? I know we're keep chatting you up, man. I'm fine with it. We got all night. We're hanging out on the internet. That's right. Are you gonna write? Have you been writing any of this stuff down? Are you plan on some form of a memoir? Maybe. I mean, like this is a story that can be published. I mean, you could take this somewhere with this. Have you thought about that, or have you been writing anything?
I do write. My phone is actually propped on my journal right now. But memoir, I mean, I don't know, probably not. But I do write, like my Facebook status that I made that basically got all of this attention from, CNN and DC and all these places. I wrote that Facebook status in my journal. And then like whatever pops up on the news, I'll write it down, and then I write like my thoughts about it and how it pertains to like the situation I'm in now. But
we lost his video, I believe.
That's all right. We'll get it. He's on ship Wi-Fi right now,
He
so
is.
we will get him back. See, these jokes write themselves for this show. This is like too easy.
Well, I guess until we get him back, we're just going to kind of continue podcasting, if that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we can move on to the next segment anyways.
We can, and we got a lot of info there. But basically, if you're just now tuning in, people, we just had MaShawn Morton on the show, and he told us his whole plight. He's been quarantined at sea, basically, for over 2 months. Technically, 69 days. Nice. Sex number, nice. And we're getting him back on the show for sure. But this is actually a good opportunity for us to kind of move to what this show is kind of all about, right, Brian? And that's Hollering at Holler Nation, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's time to open up some snaps. I sent out a poll this evening, and maybe let's go around the table first, then and let Holler Nation on Facebook Live kind of discuss with us, and then I'm going to open up some snaps they sent me, all while trying to get MaShawn back as we speak. So my poll this evening, I want you to describe a disaster date. Tell me about a disaster date that you went on. And JD, if you don't mind to go ahead and start, take it over.
Oh, every one of them. They've all been disasters. No. You sent this poll. I'm going to be honest with you. I have been fighting a hangover all day long today, and my brain is just not working very well. So when you sent this poll question, I started thinking, man, have I been in any really real disaster dates, or have they just been dates? I don't know.
Pick the weirdest one. Who knows?
The weirdest one. Gosh, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have an answer for this. I don't really. If a date's a disaster, at that point, I feel like it's just over. It's not even a date anymore. I don't even think I considered at that point a date. Hey, MaShawn's back and he's sideways. What's up? He's bringing it. Short answer is either none of them were or all of them were. I don't really know. I don't really have an answer to that. Welcome back, MaShawn.
Sorry, ship Wi-Fi.
We told everybody, we said these jokes write themselves. This guy's on ship Wi-Fi. We might lose him again. I don't know. We'll see. Would you keep bringing him back?
My bad. I mean, not my bad. They're bad.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. They're bad.
We were actually while you were gone, while you were taking your little break, MaShawn, we actually started talking about.
I got kicked off because I was boring.
No. Brian actually just told us about his poll question for this week, which was, tell us about a disaster date that you'd been on. And my answer was, they either all were disasters or none of them were. I don't really have a story for that.
I definitely have a story for
I'll
that.
just, like,
but I
that's
don't
what I'm
think I
saying,
can
MaShawn.
say
I feel like we could just sit here and go all night. I mean, how long do we have? I could give you 110 stories, as a matter of fact. This is why me and
I
MaShawn
definitely
are
have that
pals.
story.
I'd rather hear
You know,
y'all.
we always laugh together, Brian. We
I know.
always do.
I know.
My first thought of you is math class. Weren't we in math class
We
together?
were. We were
Miss
in
Hastings?
Algebra 2, and I forget her name, our teacher, but it was a fun. We had fun in class, and it wasn't even a fun class. We just made it fun.
It was so boring, but you were fun, and I don't ever remember seeing you anywhere else outside of that class. Like,
Until
I don't have
adult
any
life,
other memory
You know?
until adult life, until St. Mark's.
There
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
right. Until the
that's-
bars brought us back together.
Always the bar that I see you in is St. Mark's.
Don't call me out like that live on the show, MaShawn. I'm not comfortable with this. I'm just kidding.
Hey, don't be ashamed.
I'm not
Embrace it.
ashamed.
Well-
There's no shame in this game.
MaShawn, do you think?
But yeah, let's get back to disaster
Yeah.
dates here. I'll go ahead and just, MaShawn, while you're thinking of your favorite one or two or three, we'll let you tell.
I already
three.
have it.
Okay. Well, hey, in that case, just go. Tell me. Let's hear it.
No, you go, because mine is a little X-rated. I don't know if I can say it.
You
on-
can.
You can say
go.
whatever you want. This is Holler, my man. This is Holler.
Ooh.
Go
You
for it, dude. Just go for it. Who cares?
Really?
Yeah, go for it. Who
I
cares?
can't believe I'm going to tell this story.
Yeah, just take a drink of whiskey and keep going.
There you go.
There it is.
All right, so this was actually in Huntington, West Virginia.
Okay.
About 15 years, maybe 14 years ago. I met a guy at the gym, and we would see each other a lot, blah, blah, blah. And one day he approached me, and he asked if we could go out, step out, and, have a walk around the park, is what he said. And I was like, sure. But this was after, like, numerous days of us talking at the gym. So we walked around the park, got to know each other a little bit, and then he asked me out for dinner. And I was like, sure. And we went to dinner. Dinner was fine, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, end of the night, we're in my car, and he goes in, for the kiss, blah, 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 does that, and then he wants to take it further. And, I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And it went to the point of, clothes coming off, and he took his pants off, and when he did that, I can't believe I'm about to say it.
Yeah, I'm subscribed. I'm all the way in.
It was the smallest micro
Oh, boy.
penis I had ever seen in my life.
Oh no.
Like, literally, I did not know that they could look like that. I had no idea that they could look like that
Oh
my
until
God.
that moment. And my stepmother knows the story. I can't believe I'm telling you.
Hey.
And I stopped him, and I was like, "We're done.
Yeah, it's
We're
over.
done. We're done."
Yeah.
And I have never seen him again. I
Well,
don't
yeah, I would
remember
assume
ever
that.
seeing him at the gym ever again. Every
That's a
time I
tough
go
one.
to the gym in Huntington, I wonder if I'm going to run into him, but I never do.
What was his
I know he
problem,
was-
dude? I don't understand. What was his problem? I don't get it.
It was shocking. It was mind blowing because he was attractive. He had nice body, like
Brian, it was
he
just
had
a
it-
little problem, and it wasn't very big.
Yeah,
True,
it
just
wasn't
a
very
small
big.
problem.
It was just a small problem.
and that was my worst. That is my worst. It was such a disappointment.
That's a fantastic story. Thank you so much for that. by the way.
That's very pure too, and this is definitely a sex positive show, so it's totally fine. But-
you said go.
Hey,
you said
you did. And
say
you did.
it.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's a pure story, though. I mean, that's.
Okay, I'm going to take the mic
Mind-blowing.
here. My turn for a disaster date. And like
Go.
MaShawn said, I had all of, 100 to choose from if I wanted to, but here we go. We'll start with one that I just think is hilarious. I'm talking this girl up. Everything's going really well. And she actually lived out of town. So we chatted, we were in the talking phase for months, like probably 3 months before I decided, like, I'm going to fly down and hang out with this girl. She wasn't too far away. She was kind of in between the fly and drive. But I got a cheap flight, so I flew. And it was my first time really hanging out, like, face to face with her. Even though we had kind of been talking. I don't know. I can't say that we were serious. We were just like friends that made each other laugh, and we wanted to just hang out in person and just see what happens. You know what I mean? That's what humans do, right? So I fly down with this girl, and the first thing she says is, let's go to this bar. It's like lunchtime. She's like, let's go have lunch and drinks, and we'll go from there. I said, okay, that sounds great. Well, we sit down at the bar, and the first thing I notice is this is supposedly one of her favorite bars or something, and I noticed right away, because I am a vibe reader. I can read vibes off people all day long. I noticed this bartender is not liking this girl's vibe, and this girl is talking to the bartender like they're best friends, and I'm thinking, like, you're not seeing this connection? Like, this bartender doesn't like you. Why do you think that you're best friend? You can tell the bartender is given that, like, ooh vibe, you know? I don't know. It's hard to explain. So anyways, I picked up on that right away. A little bit of a red flag, whatever. Get me a beer. Let's keep this thing going.
Yeah.
Who knows? So we get a drink, and I know we've been sitting there all of 5 minutes, and she's like, let's take a selfie together. It's our first picture. I said, okay, that's fine. So we take a picture together, and after this photo, she says, I have to go to the bathroom. And I said, okay, that's fine. And so she gets up and she goes to the bathroom. And I'm just like in my own world. I don't know anyone down there. So I get on Facebook. This girl had changed her profile picture on Facebook to the selfie of us to where it looked like we were a couple. I had been there for 5 minutes. I had been there for 5 minutes. So I'm scared at this point. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I can't run away because my plane is in like 3 days. Like, this is bad. Like, MaShawn, I am captive. I don't know where to go. And so,
but you have endless booze.
But I have endless booze. I had a lot more options than you have. And you know what, man? I really tried to be nice, and that did not sit well with me. I did not like the fact that I wasn't asked about it. We just suddenly had a couple's photo as the main profile picture. Dude, before she got back from the bathroom, like, her girlfriends who were commenting on it, like, great catch, girl. You guys are looking good. Things like that.
Oh.
Like, people I don't even know.
Oh,
what the fuck is
boy.
going on? I just got
Jeez.
here. She, like, imported me just for, like, the profile photo, like, right away. Come on.
Oh, my gosh.
That's just one story.
So did you stay with her for the rest of the night?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he did. You know he did. You know he did.
so
You took, yeah.
I kept drinking, and I'll tell you, I tried to be a trooper about this, but by the time we got back to her place, she could really tell that my whole vibe was just totally different than where we started. And I explained to her, like, your actions today have blown my mind. This is not at all how you've acted this entire time. I was not expecting this. I'm not happy. And if I could leave tomorrow, I would leave tomorrow. But I have a whole other day left, unfortunately. Can we please try to make the best of this? And we did. We tried to make the best of it. I was just blunt and honest. I wasn't really an asshole about it, man. I said what I was feeling, because that is what I was feeling. It was bullshit, I thought. Honestly.
I want to know.
I mean, there are some people that would storm out and never talk to their girl again. I at least was honest with her.
I want to know. Maybe what if maybe the bartender was free? You were talking about the bartender earlier. Maybe the bartender had an experience with that same girl in the past, and that's why
bartenders know that.
Maybe the bartender was her ex-boyfriend, and
Maybe.
she did that to make him jealous.
Oof.
No, that's not it. The bartender was a female, and
Hey, again, we're seeing sex
no,
positive.
It wasn't like that. Though.
She
This
could have
was
been bi.
like, if anything, man, I would say the bartender was given the vibe of, oh, great, this is like the third guy I've seen in a month. You know, here we go with this whole story again. That's the vibe.
Ah, okay. Wow.
Got you.
Jeez.
Questions are rolling.
This might be one of the cringiest episodes we've had. I'm just kidding.
Meet this girl.
Is this a trap? Are you trying to
Where'd you meet her?
I met her on a.
Go ahead.
Go
Is
on,
this a trap?
Where'd you meet her, Brian?
say it.
She's probably on.
Who's
She's
asking
in.
this question?
She's on the chat
You're
right
not
now,
asking
dude.
the
I know
question.
it.
This is a fucking trap.
I promise. It's me asking the question.
I met her on a cruise. And now we've come full circle.
Full circle. No one's ever cruising ever again.
Stay away from cruises, guys. Just
No, don't stay away. I would like my job back.
Yeah, no, yeah. Cruises are fun. I went on my first one last year. It was fantastic. I was on that thing with my family for a little too long, but it
Where'd
was a
you
lot of
go?
fun. I went to the Bahamas and St. Thomas and St. Martin. St. Martin was wonderful.
There's a nude beach in St. Martin.
Yeah, I really wanted to go to that. Couldn't do that. Wasn't part of the. Didn't want to do that with my family.
MaShawn, how is it?
Yeah.
How is the nude beach,
Yeah,
MaShawn?
can you tell me about?
Next question.
All right, cool.
I wanted to live vicariously through you. You could tell me about
Gracie.
micro penises, but
You-
you
You wouldn't be impressed. You wouldn't be impressed.
Fair enough.
No, I would
it
feel
was
like
it was
Yeah.
MaShawn disaster date level. Okay, I get
I would
it.
feel like
Yeah.
it'd be a lot of hair.
Are you ready for some Facebook stories?
Yes, definitely.
Abby says he got catfished by a 46-year-old dude who posed as a 28-year-old.
Oh,
He showed up with his 7-year-old daughter. He cried at the table. I left. 3 years later, he shows up on the sex offender list.
Boy.
why the daughter? Why did he have to bring the daughter into this?
Sympathy.
Oh,
True.
So-
Gracie said had to be when the person had some type of BO.
okay.
Sometimes you go on stinky dates.
Yeah.
LaCandace, God lover. LaCandace says, I went on a date with a dude in 2012, and he went to Jim's Spaghetti. He tried to order a
I love
beer,
that place.
which was embarrassing. Then he had an ex-girlfriend that stalked me and tracked me down at work. She tried to tell me I was stupid because I had a GED. It was a mess.
What in the hell?
Sometimes you go to Jim's Spaghetti and you get your life stalked out. That's
Abby also said she had to take a date
I
to
love
the
Jim's
car
Spaghetti.
once. Candace has also had a micro penis dude, so you're not alone.
Okay, wait. So
Oh
wait
my
a sec-
God.
yeah, you kind of
There's
went
more
over
than
the.
one?
You went over.
well, yeah.
Somebody
It's
had
apparently a
They have
trait.
colony of
somebody
them.
had to take somebody to the ER
No
on their date.
shade to guys that have that though.
No,
No
yeah.
shade to guys that have that though. That's just not for me. It could be for other people though. So no shade.
That's a good point.
True that.
LaCandace also says, one time I had a date and the dude asked me to put a dildo in his butt, so I did, and he pooped.
Okay, now that one. Why did we not lead off with that one?
I was saving the best for
We
last.
went from
Damn.
Jim's Spaghetti to dildo poop. Hey guys, if this is your first time listening to Holler, welcome to it.
Welcome
Holy
to the
shit.
show, ladies
Oh
and gentlemen.
my god. Who said that? LaCandace? LaCandace said that?
Yeah,
That's what, I would love to have a drink with her and just talk. I feel
yeah.
like.
When this is all over and you're back home, it's happening for sure. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Jamie wants to know, my name is Gracie, by the way, Jamie. Does the girl on your show ever get to talk? You fellas need to respect the female more. She looks bored as fuck.
No, listen, that's her normal face first.
Yeah,
of all.
that's just
That's
her
her normal
RBF.
face.
That's it. And she can talk whenever she
Gracie-
wants. She just never does.
Yeah, Gracie can talk whenever she wants. She signed up for this a long time ago, and you know what? Props to her for putting up with us.
Yeah.
That's fair, but Gracie is totally fine. It's her normal face. That's what she looks like.
Shut up, bitch.
Wow.
That was rude.
Oh, jeez.
All right, I'm gonna open up a few snaps from Holler Nation on the topic since we're on the topic here. Let's kick this thing off with Will, and let's just see what Will has to say here.
So the worst date I've ever been on. I don't know if you're gonna count homecoming or prom as a date, but I forgot what the location was. Like I went up to the high school for prom and it was at the Civic Center. So yeah, that was pretty embarrassing.
Whoops. Okay. Just
So Will forgot the location of his prom date. Is what he had to say.
Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, that just makes you later. That's really not that bad. That's not too bad.
Will, you're a young man. Hang in there a little while longer, and
It gets worse.
you're going to
Trust
find
me.
a few more disasters.
It gets worse.
It gets
more
worse.
dildos and more pooping, and it's just all downhill.
More micro penises. More
That
ER
is
visits.
Amazing.
Okay, I want to shout this Holler listener out. What a loyal listener. This is Berglund. She listens from Iceland, and that's where she's sending us her answer. Let's hear what an Icelandic disaster date sounds like. Here we go. What?
We hook up. But no, we don't date.
Oh, she says we don't date.
We never ever go on date.
She never goes on dates.
Oh, okay. Well, she confused me at first.
Yeah. Well,
So she says
she says you don't go on dates.
Icelandic people don't go on dates. When she said they don't date, I was thinking like, I know for a fact Berglund has snapped us, and she lives with a boyfriend. But I was thinking, like, does she not call that her boyfriend? Do they just go to the bars and they split up at that point? Iceland is full of swingers. Is that what's
It's
going
just a
on?
country full of
What's
swingers.
happening?
She says we don't go on dates. We just
You go.
Listen,
Iceland full of
stop
swingers,
watching
and you
my face.
We made the same face though. Iceland full of swingers. Okay.
we just hook up. We don't date in
Do you
Iceland.
think we can go on a cruise there?
Yeah, are there Icelandic cruises?
You can. I mean,
Yeah.
not now, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be in Europe right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's a bummer, man.
Damn.
But there was a small
It is.
chance that it could be a disaster date. You never know, MaShawn. That could have been a new one. Who knows?
everything's better in Europe though.
Let's open up this next one from Adam. See what Adam has to say.
So it's a horrible first date to go to a movie. But I've been on 2 dates that halfway through the movie, the fire alarm went off and we had to evacuate the movie theater. That's never a good sign. Happened to me twice. 2 different girls. Bad times. Bad times.
Hold up.
I never got called back.
You took me on a date with our first.
Oh.
Oh,
So,
damn.
I believe it was my 19th birthday. It was literally like 12:03 a.m. on my birthday, and someone had sent me a message on MySpace. I think it was. It might have been Facebook. Anyway, and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "It's my birthday." He's like, "Oh snap! You want to go to Wendy's?" Heck yeah, I want to go to Wendy's. Motherfucker made me pay for my own nuggets at Wendy's.
No.
No.
She Biggie sized that disaster date. You know what I'm saying?
I love this show. These stories are brilliant.
Oh, they're
These are
fantastic.
memoirs. You guys should write a memoir with these stories.
That's what this podcast is, man. It's just a constant.
That was
weekly-
Adam and Maggie, who is Adam's girl. So she told her own disaster story. She had me at Wendy's, and then she took it a step further. Had to pay for her own Wendy's. Holy shit, man! Maggie, you deserve
Jerica's
more.
listening.
Oh,
Maggie, you are
Jericho
worth more than a chicken nugget from Wendy's, a spicy nugget. You're
I'll
worth
be-
more, girl.
Yeah, that number 6 Biggie sounds with a Sprite.
You're at least a Baconator.
Hi, Jerica. Thank you for logging in and listening. Jerica, MaShawn, and I were all involved in the show choir in high school, and that's probably the reason, MaShawn, why you didn't see Brian that much. Yes, jazz hands. You probably didn't see Brian much because when we would go do show choir events, more than likely Brian was either playing basketball or baseball or one of those kind of things. He was on the sports side of things. We were on the arts and music side of things. So that explains that. That's the.
But I still have the same love in my heart. Doesn't matter how many sports I play. It's all
yeah,
good.
yeah. Or how many
Brian,
songs we sang.
did you play soccer too?
Yes, I played 4 sports. I ran track also.
Mm-hmm.
4 sports.
I think there's a picture of you in the yearbook running track.
There is
in the short.
Wow, you really
quads.
You really threw that back. Hashtag quad squad. You really
Yeah. I distinctly remember that picture.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate you for that.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Let's stop right now.
Quad squad all day. There we go. Let's see if we can open up one more. This one comes in from CJ. Let's see if this is a snap for the show. Here we go. Nope, not a snap for the show. Sorry, CJ. Maybe next time. And I'm going to close out my snaps on that. And JD, if you want to scoot on to the next thing.
Yeah, definitely do want to do that. Let's kick it. What do you say? We do a little something called Shots Fired. How about it?
Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Yes. All right, get your drinks ready, people. It's time to bitch about shit. This is a segment called Shots Fired. This is where we take shots of stuff while we also take shots against stuff. And you want me to go first, Brian, on this one?
Yeah, go for it, man.
I feel like I might have said something like this before, but my shots fired this week is people that share misinformation on social media, especially if it is something that deals with form of conspiracy theory or real deal fake ass news. Or
Hi, welcome to Facebook.
Yeah, welcome to Facebook. This is true. I think the real issue that I have with it, I mean, I understand the concept of like forming your own opinion, make your own assumption stuff. But when you base all that off of lies, incorrect things, then that's not forming an opinion. That's being misinformed. Misinformation is exactly what it is. I'm sick of that shit. That's dumb. I don't know how else to say it, y'all. I get the idea of understanding and making your own opinion, but if the sky is actually the color blue and someone says it's red and you share that kind of information to try to prove it to other people that it is red, SMH. That's all I have to say about that. And I'm going to take it straight from the bottle, y'all. This is OZ Tyler, honey bourbon. Do I have shot sounds? I don't know.
I'm gonna fire you. I got you.
Fire me off, dog. Oh, yeah, okay. Don't share misinformation on social media.
So, listen, MaShawn, I'm not coming to you yet, but I want you to get your wheels turning. I mean, maybe this should be pretty easy for you, like the date story, but I want you to think of something to fire a shot about as we keep going here, because we're all going to take turns, and eventually it's swinging back to you.
Pressure.
Yeah, something has pissed you off, or at least something to bitch about. You've got it, man. Anyways, I will take it from here. Shots fired this week. Here comes a real American shot fired, because, like, really, how bad is this complaint? But nonetheless, a complaint. So we all know that retail stores are not currently open. We're all bored. We're all dying over here. We all need a little retail therapy. I could use, maybe a new pair of pants here or there. So I went pants shopping online. And here's my complaint. I wanted to try, like, a few different brands, and I wanted to see the fit. I'm very particular about how these fit, and I want the right pants. As I should, I'm buying them. And I'm willing to pay good money, but I want them to fit correctly.
Here's
my
Quad
problem.
Squad.
I ordered from, like, 3 different places, and I was trying these on, virtual try-on, if you will. The problem with ordering online, at least right now, is every place, I believe except for one, no, I think every place at least had some type of fee for me to ship the product back to them that was unused. So whether it was a fee that was in their return policy, as in just like, this is going to cost us handling, you owe us $6. Or if it was, we have no fees with our returns, but you have to pay the return shipping. Well, that's still a fee. I've still got to pay the $8 to ship the box back. And all I'm saying is, I know that sounds trivial. However, when you buy multiple things online and you're paying $8 every time to ship it back, suddenly I'm $40 deep and I don't have any pants. What's going on? I don't have pants. I'm supposed to have pants at $40.
I'm $40 gone and I don't have any pants. Where am I? Where am I?
I don't have pants.
No pants.
There's no pants.
You have pants on right now, though.
I do have pants on right now.
Oh,
that's right. Shots fired.
Do it.
Too expensive.
Oh, jeez. I'm $40 deep.
Now it's my turn.
Where are my pants?
Okay, my turn. Anyway, so this week has been lovely. They're tearing down the abandoned building next to mine. I love it. It's perfect. It was creepy. There were squirrels and raccoons living in it. Ooh. Homeless people were kicking in the door. Lovely. Kick it in. Or tear it down. Whatever.
This is beside you?
This is right next to me.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. What is not fantastic is the idiot running the backhoe or excavator, the excavator, who broke my kitchen window.
Oh, shit.
And who also cut my internet cord that was outside of my house, which is why you see this very familiar llama picture. Because your girl has no internet, and it's really annoying because I have schoolwork. I have a 4-year-old. It's not a good time with no internet during quarantine.
Oh, jeez.
Learn how to work the big tools or don't use them at all. That is my shots fired.
That's good.
Cheers.
That's real good.
Cheers, Rachel.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez.
Gracie's taking down the bourbon.
That
She
wasn't that
did
bad.
exactly.
Yeah,
it's
see?
delicious. You're very welcome for that.
She did that very well.
Oh, we forgot to give you your shots. Here you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
So I gotta fire those shots. MaShawn, it's now to you. What's up, man?
Oh. Okay, there's one in my head just because it just happened before we got onto this thing.
Okay.
I don't want to do specifics, so I'm going to do it general. When people make other people's situations about themselves, when they don't have anything to do with the situation, but they want to make it about them. And I'm just going to keep it general because it just
That's a great one.
And it was so annoying to me, so annoying to me. And it wasn't even my situation. It was a friend of my situation. So that's it.
Yeah,
Leave
that's
it there.
good. That's good. Just give him some bullets.
Have a drink, MaShawn.
Have yourself a drink for that. I've seen memes about that where they say like people do that because they think that it's showing some form of empathy, but no. I mean, don't people just most of the time just want people to listen? That's what I'd figure.
Yeah. And actually, this person wasn't really searching for empathy. He was just telling his truth. He was like, this is my truth. And this is how life experience has been for me. But then the person was being combative about his personal life experience by applying it to that other person's life experience. It's like, wait a minute, your stories are different. Like, you can't lessen his truth because you can't relate to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know what? We actually posted, JD kind of said that, but we posted a meme, like almost verbatim about your shots fired, about making things about you, and it's a funny meme. And so for those joining, and also MaShawn, since you've been trapped for a little while here, please like our page and follow our page, and I'll tell you why, because we are a meme factory, dude. So when you follow our page, you're going to get memes all week long, and then you're going to get a live podcast at the end of the week. What more could you ask for? Yeah. Besides pants.
It sounds like heaven.
Besides pants.
Besides some pants. Sometimes. Sometimes you need them to protect you from the elements. Yeah.
Coochie.
I just had this one chili that set my mouth on fire, and I had to drink a 2-liter of Mountain Dew.
If I can follow the guidelines.
Oh, yes. Wonderful.
These sound bites.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's what we're all about.
What's the story behind the Mountain Dew bite?
That was
you use that a lot.
Yeah, that one's great. That was a kid at some like chili fest in northern West Virginia. He was being interviewed, and he said a very ridiculous statement. Said he ate some chili and it was so hot he had to drink a 2-liter of Mountain Dew. But when he says it, it sounds like
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. Oh, it's so good.
It's a West Virginia classic, man.
It's a West.
Welcome back,
yeah,
man.
it's a West Virginia classic.
Thanks, man.
Anything we can do to bring
Sorry,
a little
I
bit
missed
of home to you while you're quarantined on that ship. And again, your spirit is wonderful. I cannot believe that you're in such a positive mood after everything you've gone through. But then again, you've always been that way, man. So keep it up.
Thank you for thinking that. I don't feel that way about myself, but thank you for thinking that.
Oh, since we're on that subject, MaShawn, this is what I thought. It had been a little bit since you and I had touched base. We're on and off with communication, and it had been just a little bit. And so, yeah, I'm so happy to see you, and I am, and I said that earlier, but I do know you as a bubbly personality, a positive, bubbly personality that I always enjoyed being around. And I will say, when I first touched base with you, I thought to myself, I think the whole ship situation is getting to him. You weren't quite as bubbly in your messages that you normally are when I touch base with you. Now that I've got you on here, you're back. You're back, man, because we're all here, so you're back.
Exactly. I'm feeding off the energy. It's hard to not have energy around you.
I can't imagine.
It really is. And I get in my head a lot. I'm always in my head. I'm a Virgo, so I stay in my head. But it's nice to have good energy So it's
Stay
you, not
positive,
me.
man. I think that's coming to an end, and we can't wait to see it. And when it does, and you're local and you're near, you come by for the podcast, because you don't have to be on the show as a guest. We'll have live audience members and things like that once things get back to normal. We've got a really cool setup. I can't wait to show you all of that, and I can't wait to catch up over a drink at a bar, our normal situation, you know?
Right. I'm here for it.
Just when you thought the show couldn't get any funnier, let's move on to the next segment and maybe talk about Elon Musk's baby. Let's do it.
Let's do it, baby. So, how do you guys pronounce Elon Musk and Grimes' baby's name? Let's just go around the table.
Yeah, okay, so listen, I saw this meme that broke it down that was like, the first letter is X, and in Greek that's pronounced Chi.
Yep.
And the whole meme broke it down and said, Kyle, your baby's name is Kyle. And it was a funny meme. However, I will say this, I listened to a podcast. They briefly asked Elon to explain his baby's name, and this is what I got from it. It was still a very unclear answer. He basically said the baby's name is pronounced X-A12.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a fucking alien.
So that symbol that looks like an A and an E put together, he considers that to be pronounced Ash?
Ash, and he said his partner came up with that, so that would be Grimes.
Okay. Well, I do want to say that I also saw a publication with her saying that that's pronounced AI, like artificial intelligence. So they both don't know how to
haven't agreed on it.
Their own baby's name?
I know how to pronounce it.
Oh, Gracie knows. Gracie knows. Well, wait a
I doubt
second.
this.
Gracie, don't tell us. Don't tell us yet. I want to hear. I want to
You're
hear what MaShawn has to say. How do you think, MaShawn, you pronounce?
I'm getting kicked off of this because I haven't seen Castaway and I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
Here's a quick rundown, man. Elon Musk, who's that crazy billionaire who did SpaceX and all that Tesla stuff and everything, just had his first baby with his current girlfriend, who's Grimes. She's like a European pop singer. You've heard Grimes' music before, right? No? Okay. Well,
You have.
I'll share it.
You just don't realize it.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a song.
Let's see. Go's a good one, right? Go's a good song.
Yes.
But, When I Go, can I go?
How's it go?
Shoot.
JD, keep talking. I'll get it pulled up.
Yeah, he's going to pull it up and play it. Anyway, they had their first child together, and the child's name is spelled with the letter X, and then the A and E symbol, like put together, A and E, which is a weird. I don't even know how to say that symbol with normal word.
I know what it looks like. I've seen it.
Okay, and then the third word, I guess, is A12, which apparently was like a plane that came before the SR-71, which broke the sound barrier. It was like the precursor to
Elon's favorite plane. Yeah,
it's his favorite. It was apparently they both loved that plane. So I think it's pronounced this way.
Sounds like alien to me.
Wait, we didn't go Gracie. Gracie,
Yeah,
how's this
well,
pronounced?
Gracie apparently knows it. So, Gracie, how do you actually do it?
Elon Musk's baby.
Okay,
there you
this
go.
is the Gracie answer that we all expected. Yes, and MaShawn, to get you a little bit of Grimes. Here we go.
Oh yeah, you got to turn it up, dog. We can't hear that too good.
Sorry, dude. I'm having a volume issue over here. Sorry. No, it's not going to get any louder.
Nope,
man.
won't get any louder. I'll have to send it.
That's been on the radio?
Well, ish. That was an older song. It's definitely an older song. I'll send it to you, MaShawn. I'll share it with you online.
All right, send it to me.
I will. You'll like it. It's a good song. It's got a great drop.
Yeah, I love that song. Actually, it's really
It's
great.
fantastic.
Didn't know she was going to name her baby X-A12. But, you know.
I did a remix of that particular song, by the way, Brian. I'll share that with you too. Yeah. So I think that we should scoot over and let's see what Holler Nation has to say some more. Brian, you got some more responses to your disastrous date question?
Let's let Gracie check the live feed.
Yeah. There you go.
And while she does that, I'm going to cue something up for you guys, and this will be new to MaShawn as well, or new to any new listener. We've got a segment coming up right after this called Holler at a Lawyer. We're going to bring a lawyer onto the show. If you guys have any questions pertaining to law, no matter what they may be, he's going to answer in a non-legally binding way. This is not your attorney, but he would be more than glad to maybe drink a beer with us, because that's what a holler lawyer does. He chugs a beer, gives you an answer, hops back off. We'll do that here in a minute. We're going to head to Facebook Live and see if anyone's chatting with us first, because we love chatting with you guys. So, Gracie?
Jerica says, hi, friends. Y'all are making me smile.
Jerica, what's up?
LaCanda says, I read that it was illegal in California to name him that. And that's so far because I've read everything else.
Yeah, that's.
Justin Murdoch, I see that you're watching with me.
Hey, Justin.
Justin is a founding member of the Huntington Pride Board, and we are very excited to get Justin and Allie from Huntington Pride back on the show as soon as we possibly can. It's going to be awesome.
Love Allie so much.
Yes.
She's done such great
they're
things
great people.
for
And
Huntington.
MaShawn, I hope you're around for that, and you should come on by if so. But for right now, we're going to scoot on over to It's Holler at a Lawyer. So here we go.
Let's do it.
The information provided on this podcast is not intended to constitute legal advice and is provided for entertainment purposes only. Because the information provided on this podcast is prepared for a general audience without investigation into the facts of each particular case, no listener should act or refrain from acting on its material. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as legal advice, as the information is not intended to create an attorney-client relationship of any form. We repeat, this is not your attorney.
Welcome. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Holler at a Lawyer. And Cole's in the house. What's up, Cole? How you doing, man?
Doing well. How's everybody else doing tonight?
Just quarantining, brother.
Everybody is in better shape than MaShawn is the real answer here, I believe.
Self-isolating.
Yeah, at least we have a choice in the matter.
Yeah, exactly. Can we lead with, what was the question I believe that LaCandace had brought up earlier about, I believe the question was simply like, what kind of legal action could be taken for maybe somebody in MaShawn's shoes to
Is this class action territory?
Yeah,
is that what we're looking at?
Is that what
here,
this
Cole?
is? Like,
What are you
heard
going
his
class
story.
action?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's just a word I thought I should say.
Well, yeah, we don't know what that means.
Basically, yes, this is a type of situation where you could try to do a class action, but this isn't something where someone's just negligent or acted in a way they weren't supposed to. This is just basically like the government's like, you can't come back. And I mean, you could try to sue the United States, but good luck on that if they're like, we didn't want any more people to get sick. So that's kind of like you go through a jury, even if you got to that point, and they're basically going to be like, well, jury, would you want these people to come back and potentially get you sick? And they're going to be like, no. And they're like, okay, then.
Yeah, wow.
Question. Thank you, Gracie. That's my question. My question is, if we're in a recorded state of where our health has been recorded consecutively every day, twice a day, for an extended period of time that's been longer than the 14-day national guideline, okay, can they argue if you are so fearful of being catching something from these people, why not just test them?
You can argue anything. I mean, there's going to be lawsuits out of this. There's no way that there's not going to be. I'm just looking at the realistic outcome that's probably going to be we didn't know enough to be 100% sure, because they're still not sure whether after you catch this, if you're immune to it, if you can still carry it and still pass it on. So it may be a situation where they're like, yeah, well, let's say 14 days, someone caught it on the 14th day of someone else. Now that person went on 14 days. So there's a potential where people are carrying this and can still spread it, but they're like showing no signs. There's multiple cases out there where people that are STD carriers that show no signs, have no reaction, can pass it to people, and they're kind of afraid that this is the same thing, where it's like we don't know enough about it to be 100% sure, so they're just trying to take precautions any way they can. But that being said, I think there's going to be lawsuits left and right about this. But
I hear you. I feel you. Question though, those people, like how you just said, like with STDs, like they could be kept passing it along without showing symptoms. But if they test for it, would they test negative if they were positive?
There are some cases where there have been people that have tested negative for certain STDs, and then they've done other tests and found out that the normal test doesn't pick up this person. The only reason I know this is because in law school there were certain cases where it was like, and the same thing, like there are people that can take DNA tests that their DNA wouldn't show up in one thing, but it'll show up in another, like when they're trying to tie it to a murder scene. So it's just, I think it's the fact that it's the imperfect system that we have here that we don't know what we're testing for that could lead to just any kind of like lawsuit you would try to file. They're basically just going to hit the defense of, we're just trying to protect.
Okay, so I have a question about the future lawsuits for this that are coming up. And before I ask this question, I do want to say to those of you that are watching on Facebook Live right now, I know some of you listen to the podcast later, maybe on Spotify and iTunes, and we're in all of those places, and that's fine. But if you're in the live audience right now and you or anyone around you has a legal question, no matter how silly it is, go ahead and throw it out there in the live chat, and we'll queue you guys up next. But anyways, to piggyback off of this, okay, Cole, let's just say there is going to be multiple lawsuits. We realize that. That's a given. Is there a place, this might be a really dumb question, but I want to ask it for MaShawn. Is there a place that he can check up on lawsuits that he may be able to kind of join in on, or should he just keep reading social media? Or is there a place where someone can go that doesn't know the answer to this?
Two-part answer to that. One, you can always just Google it, because Google's going to report everything. Secondly, this is going to be such a big class action type lawsuit that this is going to be like the mesothelioma thing where it's like, have you or a loved one been blah, 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 blah? It's going to be, these attorneys are going to just be everywhere trying to get clients into this suit.
That's a real good point.
Because they're going to be like, we're going to sue for $1 billion, and we're going to take 20% of that $1 billion. So please get as many people as we can to sign up for this, because we're going to sue for $1 billion. They're going to settle for $500 million. We get our 20%. The rest of you all get like $5.
We're in the money. Man, I could buy a lot of for that. Do we have any live? Gracie, did you see some questions maybe possibly in the live stream? Anybody got some legal advice they need?
We have one, and I know it was asked last week, but we'll ask it again just for the new viewers who weren't there last week. Is there any point in writing in a social media bio, this profile doesn't reflect my employer's views?
You can say whatever you want to. And like me and JD talked last week, this is kind of like that when you're trying to not get copyright infringed. You're like, I don't own this music, but I'm going to play it and sing to it. You can put whatever you want to. It's not going to hold up. That's like me getting this podcast, Facebook Live video and saying, what I say doesn't reflect anything in this group. And I'm like, man, Holler's stupid. I hate this shit. Like, I don't see how anyone listens to this.
Yeah.
They're going to be, you all are going to be like, no, get this guy off here. But I'm like, no, but I said it doesn't reflect you all. I'm just saying that this is my opinion.
Well,
you're going to invite me back to the show.
Would you say that impact outweighs intent is the best way to kind of phrase that?
Yeah, I think, and plus, come on, folks. Like, if you're putting that, there's probably an intentional, you're going to say something that you're like, I hope my employers don't get mad about that. Because I've never once thought, like, I'm going to post on my social media that anything I say doesn't reflect my employer, because I'm not going to say anything that would, in fact, like, make my employer ever go like, was that about us? Like, I'm not going to get on there and then be like, man, I really hate my boss. Like, I really, really hate my boss.
By the way, the status does not reflect how I feel about my boss.
But also, fuck you, boss.
But also, go fuck yourself.
I'm on Facebook going, guys, I lost my job. I can't believe my fucking boss fired me. Can you believe they fired me for that?
It's just for stealing some stuff. Like maybe some lab equipment or a computer or something. I got one. I have a question. What kind of responsibility do people have when it comes to sharing dipshit conspiracy videos from YouTube? I mean, I know your answer is people can share whatever the hell they want, but is there any sort of personal responsibility for somebody sharing very dangerous misinformation that could possibly harm people? Big question, huh?
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not. That's what I thought.
The only way that I could really see that being an issue is if you did it with the intent of causing, like,
disruption or harm.
ignorance is one thing, but if you're doing something and hoping people rely on it and hurt themselves, and then they get hurt and they can prove that you went through this with the intent of trying to harm people, then they could be like, look, you had the intent to do this. It was an intentional tort. But just sharing some misinformation that's stupid, they kind of have to be like, listen, if you're just sharing something and it's stupid and someone falls for, like the whole like drinking bleach shit, like to clean your insides of the coronavirus, they're going to be like, look, if you shared that and then someone drinks bleach and then tries to sue you, they're going to be like,
come on now. Come on now.
Come on, like really? Like no, there has to be some kind of level.
Is there a really, dude?
Competency
kind of law? Is that what is that called? Is that part like written in the law books? It's like, really, dude? Really?
I mean, there is a lot of it is kind of the common sense rule. It's just like, ignorance isn't like a defense to everything. It can be a defense to a few things, and it also depends on who's trying to bring the defense. Like, if you're sharing something or if you're sending something to like a 6-year-old or someone with maybe a mental disability that has like a lower level, and you're sending something directly to them and saying like, hey, you should try this.
And they do it, and it leads to their harm, yeah.
Right. But if you're just sharing something on your post, like retweeting something, and I'm not getting into politics, I'm not saying anything, but like if you retweet something like Trump says, and then someone goes out and does something, and then they try to sue you, you're just like, I'm just retweeting something that someone else said. I am not saying that you should do this. This is just something I shared.
Wow.
I want to check
basically
with
the world is a
Facebook
fuck.
Live first before I say anything else. Gracie, we have anything going on Facebook Live?
Yes. I'm just going to have to hook you up with Candace over here. She just be asking all of the questions.
That's okay.
Candace asks, the Golden Corral closed its doors with just a phone call to employees today. Is that illegal? Especially long-term employees. Do they owe them a severance pay or anything?
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
But I think West Virginia's an at-will state.
Right to work state, yeah.
Yeah. Which means unless
Come on.
only way is like if you were like a professor or something like that has tenure, even in an at-will state, if you have tenure, then you are due some kind of severance package. But if you're just a regular employee, unfortunately, these at-will states, they can fire you. The only way they can't fire you is if they fired you specifically for a constitutional reason, race, religion, something along those lines. Then you could definitely get something. But if they're just like, we're just laying off everyone, that's pretty much the end of it.
Oof.
What also is not protected though is sexual orientation.
Yeah. It is.
That's true.
It is to a
in
certain
West
degree.
Virginia.
Well, it depends on the level of constitutional rights. The main ones are race, religion, and national origin, and then it goes to like if they can't basically get rid of you because of who your parents are, if like you're adopted or something like that, or if you're like they used to use the term legally, it was bastard. So if you like didn't know who your father or mother was, but they couldn't fire you for that, or sex, that's the second degree. So it basically depends on what kind of.
And I believe in a lot of that cases, the sexual orientation part probably has more to do with religion, I think, and that's a major issue anyway.
Well, that's how they tie it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
but I digress.
Yeah, well,
same. They need to fix that word bastard. That's a bad. They shouldn't use that.
They took it out. But like, if you look up like a case from like 1950, it'll be like so and so bastard child of so and so. No, that didn't happen.
On a legal document. Yeah, this is fantastic. Gracie, anything else before I go here?
Yeah. Shelly says, "Give us the Viking horns. I love your hat."
Thank you, Shelly. What's up? Okay, so this is a grim one, and I'm sorry to bring the mood down. This is so going to bring the mood down. I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah, here we go. Cue the music. Sorry. Cole, I want to know, or I'm curious, I should say, about the legalities surrounding social media, especially people that go live on their social media and commit certain things. But let's go with this one. You guys don't know this yet. This happened right before the show. I happened to cross it. It was awful. I hated that I saw it, and that's kind of where I'm going with this. Locally, here in my local area, which is JD's and everybody else's, there was a girl that went live right before this show, and she was committing self-harm in a very bad way. There was blood. It was nasty. It was awful. This came across my news feed as I was setting things up for the podcast. I didn't want to see it, but it came across my news feed. I see blood everywhere. See a girl screaming and crying into the camera. It was terrifying. I clicked on it, which I didn't want to do, but I clicked on it so that I could report it, right? Okay, so Facebook has a report feature. I don't report anything ever, but I was like, this seems like the time. Should probably click report. There's a person bleeding and screaming on live camera. So I clicked report, and you're able to select self-harm. Why are you reporting it? Blah, blah, blah. So I clicked that, sent it through, and it was like no time. I guess I was late to the party on this one, but like it was no time. This girl's door got like kicked down. Police officers charged in.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Took her out kicking and screaming and bleeding. I've got a few questions here about this. First of all, I know that's deep. I'm sorry to bring it in.
I agree with JD's body. He's like, God.
Oof.
Yeah, I know.
Oof.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of stuff at once here. This just happened right before the show. And to think I fired shots about pants. Fuck. Anyways. Always back to the pants. Anyways.
Back to pants.
So, the questions here, like, at what point is a police officer allowed to kick your door down? I mean, does it just take one person to call the police and say, I think Cole might be hurting himself? Is that it? Is that all it really takes?
It has to be someone that knows you or has a familial like status with you. It can't just be anyone, but if like a family member or someone that's a loved one or has some kind of relationship with you, then they basically Baker Act you and call the cops, and that's what it takes. Like,
sounds like that's kind of what happened with her, probably, hopefully. And hopefully she's in a better place. Surely tomorrow, hopefully she wakes up in a better place. That's for sure. Okay, so next question. Let's talk about people viewing it, because I felt dirty and nasty and awful for even being, like, quote-unquote a part of it, even though I wasn't a part of it. This shit's just coming to me live.
It just pops up on your news
like,
feed.
fuck.
There's not
What
much
the
you
fuck?
can do. Somebody goes
Am
live.
I in trouble that I saw this? Are people in trouble that they saw it? Especially, what if people took screenshots and texted their pals, and or they bring it up later in life, and they, and those people, it was seen that they didn't try to report this or anything like, at what level is this person responsible for just clicking a live feed video?
First off, we have no. And going back to kind of like what you're talking about with the cop, unless you are someone that has some kind of status with this person, you have no responsibility to act. If it's the same thing as like, you can be walking down the road and see someone get hit by a car and the body flies and lands right beside you and you just keep walking, you have no obligation to do anything with that. Unless you put them in a situation where they were in worse shape or you started to act. Like, if someone gets hit and then I go and like start to like try to be like help them and then I stop and then go away, then I have started to act that I can't stop.
Oh man!
But if I just keep walking, I'm fine. So it's basically kind of like that. It's like you didn't put them in any worse situation than what they were in by just clicking on it and not reporting it. You didn't do anything. Now, if we were all in this chat and I'm like, oh my God, guys, you won't believe what's on Facebook right now, and you all are like, you should report it, and I'm like, nah, like. Then I kind of have like an obligation to, because like I've made you all aware of it and you all are expecting me to act. So at that point, I kind of have a more of a responsibility.
Wow. Yeah. The moral responsibility bleeds over at that point into the like almost legal responsibility.
Some states, now again, this isn't legal advice, but some states do have a Good Samaritan Act that requires you. I know Florida does not. Florida, we don't give a shit.
Florida has a Stand Your Ground Act. They have the fucking opposite of it.
Florida's like, we don't want you to help people. We don't actually care if you hurt people. You shoot them. Do whatever you want them.
Yep.
Crazy.
So, that's true.
And another part of that is I thought you were going to go to something else, was if you were talking about, can I file like I saw this, can I sue the person that did it? Can I sue Facebook?
First off, eyes are suing you. They hurt.
So I thought that's where you're going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and answer anyway since I'm here. First off, I thought you were going back to suing Facebook. First off, you're not going to sue Facebook because everything you've signed on is basically like, I will not sue Facebook.
Yeah. User
Going
agreement.
back to our show last week where we basically talked about the fine print in every contract. Secondly, if you were like trying to sue the person that did it, there's really only two avenues to go, and it's intentional infliction of emotional distress or negligent infliction of emotional distress. And I don't think either one of them is going to qualify because they don't really have the intent to specifically do it. And even though they're negligent, you're not like any kind of zone of danger. So you would have to kind of really show that they caused you some kind of harm by you watching that. Like if you had a heart attack and like fell over, you could try to maybe sue them, but I still don't see it really going through because
Yeah, and it's really sad that you have to say it, but this is America, and you do have to say it. And imagine, God, it's sad that I'm even saying this, but yeah, imagine someone going after the bleeding girl. Hey, bleeding girl that's having a fucking horrible time in life.
Yeah, you caused
you.
me
You're
emotional
out of
distress.
here. Like, you owe me. You owe me. Like, get the fuck out of here.
you made my heart hurt, and I think I had a mild heart attack. I'm suing you for $2 million.
And I really hope that everything turns out well with this local story. I know nothing else about it other than I clicked on it. It was an awful scene. But
definitely
that's all we have to say about that. Anything else from Facebook Live? Oh, we got more stuff. Facebook Live. Here we go.
Shelly asked, should businesses be able to require customers to wear masks?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I like this.
You're a person going into a business. A business can do whatever they want to. Unless you are something where you are required to go in, like a hospital couldn't require you to wear a mask to come into the emergency room if you're bleeding. Like that's a fundamental right. You have a right to try to go in. But if they're like, you have to wear a mask to go in Walmart, Walmart can be like, look, we're allowing you to come in here. You just have to follow our guidelines. I think JD, this was maybe a topic you brought up a few weeks ago, maybe even. We were talking about like, or someone did. I feel like JD and me at least talked about it where it's like, can they make you show the receipt when you're walking out of Walmart? It's like, you volunteered to go in their store. They could almost make you do whatever you want to within reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, so you're saying
No shirt, no shoes, no service.
Yeah, it's more. Well, I think it's more like a management refuses or reserves the right to refuse or give service to anyone at any time.
Right.
That's sort of like the standard sort of basis for all business, I believe. If you're walking into the burger joint to get a cheeseburger, they'll sell it to you only if your dick's not out.
They will sell it to you only if.
Follow the guidelines.
Yeah, if you just
Fucking follow the guidelines. Today in
That
the news briefing, there was an
That was perfection.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Any more?
If you want the service, you got to listen to them. That's the point of it. Like it's just like if JD's like, hey guys, you can come over to my house, but you can't wear shoes. And you try to walk in his house with shoes. He's like, I'm not letting you in here. You can't be like, yeah, you are. I'm coming in your house. Like, if it's your place.
But question: as long as it's constitutional, correct?
Right. Like they couldn't be like, hey, if you're trying to come in here, you can't have any head coverings. Like you can't, like, no, because then people of religions that require that can be like, look, you're doing something that specifically, unless they can show that it is something that is for a greater purpose. Like if they say that you can't wear, you have to wear a face mask or you can't wear a face mask, and a certain religion is like, well, that discriminates against me, and they're like, look, it's because of blank religion. We're not doing it because of your religion. We're doing it for a greater good that affects everyone. We're not just doing it for your purpose.
That's a really good answer. That makes sense.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Anything else? Facebook Live world?
No more questions really for our hour long.
There you go.
You guys happy? You guys happy with
I'm
everything?
happy with all that. I think we
I'm
learned
a little
something today.
disturbed because of you, but
I'm not
sorry.
happy, but I'm okay.
MaShawn, I'm happy that you were here, man.
Yeah.
You, like I said, it's always good to see you. And I, my goal was to make you laugh, and I did it on multiple occasions. So see, we're good. My goal was.
You always do.
Well, thank you
You're
so
the
much.
individual who wears Viking horns.
That's right.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
dude.
much, Cole, for coming back and answering. I think we all learned some cool shit today, and hopefully the people that asked some questions got somewhat of an answer that they were looking for. Maybe, I don't know. But of course, that's all non-legally binding. If you really do have an issue, call your own lawyer, and they'll give you better answers than that. Thank you so much, Cole. We appreciate you being on the show, man. I think
Cole, take it easy, man.
I think we're gonna.
Later, everyone.
I think we're going to start wrapping stuff up a little bit. Brian, you might have some more poll answers, I believe. Some stuff from some peeps out there in Holler Nation.
No, I don't really have anything else, man. I just wanted to give a couple more shout-outs here at the very end. Something that we don't do enough that I should have said this at the top of the show, but thank you to the band Zugma for the song Jerry Diesel that you let us use. What a cool band, what a cool song. And we can't say enough about that. Also, thank you to our sponsor, beerchuggin.com. We mentioned them at the top of the show, so now you're at the end. If you've not went to their website, please go to beerchuggin.com. I know it sounds so funny and so silly, but these guys are there for a good cause. We've had them on the show before. We'll have them on the show again. They gladly sponsor this show. We're so happy they do. And like I said, they raise money for charity. So if you're into chugging beer and making money for charity, which sounds like this podcast in a nutshell, then of course, why not go to beerchuggin.com? And thank you again, guys. But yeah, I mean, if nobody else has anything else to say, MaShawn, we want to thank you so much for being here. I don't know. It feels like we snuck you in somehow because you're like the guy that's on the news articles. You're on Good Morning America, WSAZ, and we're like, yeah, that's just a story. Here's the real guy. He's drinking whiskey with us.
Yeah, he's hanging out actually with us now. And we're broadcasting.
You make it sound so much cooler than it actually is. But I appreciate it.
We're really good at doing that on this show. I'm gonna fire off a bunch of sounds and let's wrap this thing up, people. Does it sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Mango chutney.
Shut the fuck up. My name is Jeff.
What are you doing, baby?
Take a shit on the internet.
Mount Day.
Shut up, bitch.
Today at our news briefing, there was an fucking audio glitch. Fucking follow the guidelines.
Thank you so much for watching or listening or all that good stuff. Again, thank you so much to our special guest, MaShawn Morton. Please stay safe out there. Will you follow up with us after you hear about what's going on tomorrow and let us know how everything is so that if you end up getting a plan in and you get a chance to get home safe, we can let the Holler Nation know what your status is. Is that cool, following up with us?
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic, man.
We'll keep sharing your story, man. Until we get you home, we're going to keep sharing the story. Absolutely.
For sure. People need to know it's happening, and people need to know Americans need to get back home because that's the safest place to be right now, of course.
So many are stuck. So
agreed. Well, thanks again, MaShawn. Thank you, Holler Nation, for tuning in. We're definitely going to see you all next week. That's what we do. Make sure you like our page for all of our memes and our podcasts and all that good stuff. Share stuff on your timeline. Chug a beer. Give money to charity. Support people. Love is love. We love you. Love is a battlefield. I'm done.
Beerchuggin.com.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one.